This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial endowment expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on February the 3rd, 2017. Our time is 8:45 Mountain. A radio show runs on the legendary 630 CHED in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. 3 in the afternoon on Sundays. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived. Harold has 2 websites. You can go there and listen to them at your leisure, HESradio.com and rarecoloreddiamonds.com. People love podcasts and love to take walks and run, work out, listening to podcasts. Our show is podcasted through iTunes. Find us there, The World Financial Report on Radio. We're also on TuneIn. We have our own YouTube page. We go anywhere you do. You can listen to our radio show at your convenience any time. And if you want to connect with Harold, his website is rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. In the second half of the show, we're going to talk about diamonds. And on today's show, our featured diamond is one of the rarest diamonds on the planet. And Harold will get into all the details. But this is a diamond that is so special. When you hear the backstory, you're going to be literally stunned. It's a 1-carat cushion-cut fancy green, internally flawless. And it is absolutely amazing. See it? RareColoredDiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. We'll talk about it in the second half of the show. As we tape today's show, jobs numbers out in the United States. They added 227,000 jobs, and the unemployment rate was at 4.8%. One of the big events of the week, a lot of job-owning about currencies coming from different sources. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, his advisors, obviously in Canada, the Bank of Canada not wanting a strong loonie. They were trying to talk the Canadian dollar down. And we do have articles in our free weekly newsletter. Get our newsletter from Harold, 1-800-432-1022, about currency wars. And I can tell you right now, the way things are going, you can see that we could have another round of currency wars because no one seems to want a strong currency. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, Harold, we advocate people moving into the U.S. dollar. And with the United States, the Fed met on Wednesday. They did not raise rates, but they will. You can guarantee it 3 times this year. When that happens, the U.S. dollar will strengthen, and there's really not a lot Donald Trump can do about it.
Oh, you're 100% right. The fact is that if we're going to raise interest rates 3 times in 2017, then the dollar has to strengthen. And the fact is that if every country is lowering their interest rates and soon going to be in negative interest rates, which is 100% what's going to happen, it's always against the reserve currency, which is the U.S. dollar. So, don't get confused with what the markets do on a day-to-day basis. I know I have a lot of clients and followers to the radio show that call up and say, oh, gold did this, or gold went up, or the dollar did this, or whatever. Again, we don't day trade these markets. People that day trade, 90% of the people that try to pick the tops and bottoms of the market end up losing their money. That's not what we do. The fact is that we're looking for the trend, and there's no way that the trend is not intact. The fact is that the U.S. dollar broke par, went to 103, which is extremely important. It pulled back to, 99.70 that it's at this morning, but that's only short-term, changes in a market that has nothing to do with the long-term trend in the market. So, again, the only thing that we look at when we do see a pullback in a market is maybe another buying opportunity. But the fact is the trend for the U.S. dollar is substantially higher. It will be the strongest of all currencies, no matter what anybody says, because it is a reserve currency, and it's the only U.S. economy is realistically the only economy that is doing well. So the fact is we're sticking with our trade 100%. In fact, we're very excited about the opportunity to make money in U.S. dollars. And the fact that Canada is talking down the loonie, they can talk it down all they want, but the trend for the Canadian dollar is substantially lower. So the fact is that if the U.S. dollar is going to skyrocket and hit brand new highs, and the Canadian dollar is going to basically hit, or test the lows that we saw, back many years ago, the fact is we want to be in on that. We want to be in on the U.S. dollar, and we want to get out of Canadian dollar-based investments. It's imperative that we do something like this right now, because we have an opportunity to make 30, 40, 50% return on the currency alone. And then we have private investments. You were in the alternative asset business. My company deals in alternative assets, not stocks and bonds and that type of thing. We have private investments that we allow our clients to invest in that are U.S.-based, that are returning over 25% a year, not including how much the currency goes up. So the fact is that most people right now obviously know that unless you're a multimillionaire, the chances of ever retiring at a decent level is slim to next to none. If interest rates are down to pretty well zero, and they are in the U.S., I think in Canada they're paying 0.5% and soon going to go negative, what that basically means is that normally you would put your money in the bank and you would get interest on it, because the bank takes your money and loans it out to other people or corporations, and they make money on your money. That's the way the banking system has always worked. But at this particular point, interest rates are down to 0.5%. The banks are not doing overly well, and the Canadian dollar is going to continue to fall. So we need to get out of that particular market. Retirement savings plans, nobody makes money in retirement savings plans. The fact is that it's the most discouraging thing for most of the people that I speak to on a day-to-day basis. They've been in this market in their retirement savings plans for 10 or 15 years and have not made any money. The idea behind a retirement savings plan is that the government will allow you to invest X amount of dollars a year in a specified and regulated investment, mostly stocks, mutual funds, that type of thing. And the idea is that you don't have to pay taxes on this money immediately. You can invest it without paying taxes. And then over the course of the next 10, 20, 30 years, your funds should go up substantially. You'll be able to retire off of that. Then you pay your taxes, and the government gets more money, because the fact is that you've supposedly built up your retirement account, and they're going to get part of the money in taxes. The problem with that is that nobody's making money in the retirement savings plan. The fact is, if you've been in that retirement savings plan for the last decade and you haven't made any money, what's going to change? If the Canadian economy is going to continue to falter, why in the world would you want to be in that market? Many of my clients have liquidated their retirement savings plan, paid their long-term capital gains on it, converted the money to American, and are now doing phenomenal with our private investments. So if you need to talk about that, you need to give me a call, and I'll spend as much time with you as you possibly need to explain to you what your options are and how you can get out of this funk, which is trying to make money in a market that most people could never make money in. We're in the alternative asset business. We don't deal in stocks and bonds and paper assets. We deal in the real thing, and our clients are making over 25% a year, and they're making it in U.S. dollars. So at this particular point, the way I see things in the market is that gold is going to fluctuate. Every word that comes out of President Trump's mouth is going to change a market on a short-term basis. This week, he managed to fight with 3 countries. With Iran, he's going to put major there's going to be major problems with Iran. He's not happy with them. They fired a missile just the other day, and he is going to go after Iran. And he is not a passive person, Trump. So the fact is that he's going to hurt Iran in a severe way, and that's going to cause problems. Then on top of that, he's obviously got problems with Mexico, and the way that he words the things that he's concerned about is very intimidating. And then he had a massive fight with Australia over, sending people here to the United States. So again, he's a very confrontational president. A lot of things that went on this week, I don't think that the markets really liked. Gold is trading right now at $1,220, so it's actually moved $100 from the low that we saw when gold hit $1,120. However, Unless gold was ever to break above $1,380, and that's a big spread, nothing much is going to happen with gold. It's going to fluctuate based on things that he says, but the bottom line is, as long as the U.S. dollar is a strong currency, the gold market is going to fall. So what we anticipate is that gold is going to drop back down to 1,050. That's a very important number. If it was to break 1,050, my feeling is that gold could drop to 900. If that does happen, then we would see silver trading at around the $10 level. My recommendation at this particular point is that if you're sitting in gold and silver and you're losing on it at this point and you're concerned that silver could drop another $6, $7, $8 and gold could drop a couple hundred, you may want to get out of that market at this point. Take your losses or your gains, whatever price you bought it at, and start looking at investing that market into U.S.-based investments with my company that are returning over 25% a year. Give me a call. I'll explain exactly how we do that. But again, the gold and silver market will fall in response to a strong U.S. dollar. It's always done that and always will, and we do not see that situation happening. Again, right now, President Trump is just feeling his way into the White House. You know, he's done a great job. So far, he's lived up to everything that he said that he was going to do. He's a tough guy. I know him personally, and I played golf with him. I've been to his clubs many, many times before. He's a tough guy, and it's exactly, I believe, what the United States needs at this point. Not a politician, but a businessman that's not afraid to make a tough decision. He's not going to be popular. His ratings are actually, in the first 2 weeks that he's been in the White House, has been lower than President Obama's. But the fact is, he's getting things done, and I'm very optimistic about the United States' future. I think the U.S. dollar is going to skyrocket. It's going to hit 115, and we're going to make a fortune in the U.S. dollar-Canadian dollar spread, and I want all the listeners to the show to get into that. That's going to change your life financially, and again, you need to give me a call. I don't care how big of an investor you are. Most of my clients are not multimillionaires. Most of my clients are hard-working, everyday Canadians that just want a better deal than a 0.5% return in the bank or 90% of the people losing in the stock market. So, again, there's lots of opportunity. We need to get out of metals at this particular point and get our money into alternative assets that are going to make us an awful lot of money, and we're going to make it in U.S. dollars. I'm very excited about what's happening right now, Randy.
Connect with Harold. The telephone number, mark it down. If you're listening to us, grab a pen, paper, 1-800-432-1022. And when you call that number, surprise, surprise, you will speak with Harold Siegel. I know a lot of people are surprised. 1-800-432-1022. The website is rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week, and this diamond is so special. We'll tell you more about it in the second half of the show. It's a 1-carat, cushion-cut, fancy green, internally flawless. See it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. This is the rarest green on the planet, and Harold will explain why in the second half of the show. Definitely stay with us. Now, when it comes to the U.S. dollar, obviously Harold's thesis is that we need to move in because the dollar is going to appreciate. Interesting note from Bloomberg, the dollar dropped to levels not seen since the days immediately after Trump's election victory at some point during the week, following Wednesday's Federal Reserve meeting in which the bank signaled it was in no hurry to raise rates. Goldman Sachs Asset Management said investors should look through the currency's worst start to the year in more than a decade, as well as noises around the current U.S. administration to bet on a stronger greenback as a reflationary era takes hold during the Trump administration. Another story we have in our free weekly newsletter, and get your name on the list. That way you'll be on the same page we are. You can see the same articles we're talking about. Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, the website. top forecaster, says Fed to increase rates every quarter in 2018. The Federal Reserve is about to go rapid fire on interest rates, boosting them in the second half of this year, and following that with a rise in every single quarter of 2018, according to BNP Paribas SA, which expects the tightening to strengthen the dollar and push gold down towards $1,000 an ounce. The U.S. Central Bank is seen raising borrowing costs later this year, given the fiscally expansive policies proposed by Donald Trump, and the new president's agenda may help to lift wages in 2018, hoisting labor costs, the bank said in a Jan 25 report. BNP was the top gold and precious metals forecaster in the fourth quarter, according to data compiled by Bloomberg, and they say gold may yet find support from higher inflation in the first half of 2017, but the Fed will pursue rate hikes in the second half of the year, keeping the dollar strong. Commodity strategists Harry Tillingard and Gareth Lewis Davies wrote, in 2018, BNP Paribas expects the Fed will hike every quarter. The Fed will then obviously raise interest rates in December for the first time in a year, and investors are seeking to determine the likely timing of further hikes as the world's largest economy shows signs of recovery, and Trump gets down to business with vows to accelerate growth, job creation, and boosting spending on infrastructure. They raised interest rates in December of 2016. The Fed has promised 3 this year, 3 rate rises. BNP Paribas talking about, obviously, every quarter in 2018. The precious metals drop after Trump's surprise win in November amid optimism about the outlook. Then it rebounded this month. They say there's a scope for gold to hold on to the January gains, even possibly to add to them. But as we near the end of 2017, expectations of Fed rate hikes will take over stewardship of gold prices. In turn, the path of least resistance for gold is likely to be downward again. And they're talking about $1,000 gold. And Harold, I think that their thesis is spot on with what you've been talking about. We'll get the rate rises. Obviously, we're going to, over time, see these things aren't going to happen overnight. You're not going to see the U.S. dollar skyrocket overnight. You're not going to see gold go down overnight. This is a trend, as Harold was saying in his commentary. It will take time, but we obviously picked a trend in gold and silver back in the early 2000s. You had gold at $250, went all the way up to $1,900 in 2011. It took a while, but it got there. And that's the same as silver. Silver around $3, all the way up to around $49 in 2011. Took a while, but it got there. And the same is for this trend. It will take time, but the trend, as Harold always has said, is our friend, and people believe the U.S. dollar will strengthen, and we will see gold go down. And Harold, that's something that people should realize will take time, but now would be a perfect time to position yourself by switching from Canadian to U.S. dollars, considering the U.S. dollar is at the current position it's at, and it will strengthen. Now would be a great opportunity to jump into this market.
You bet it would be. Again, the markets are ever changing, but there are certain things that I look at in a market, that is a telltale sign, and I block out basically all outside noise. When I'm looking at a market and trying to decipher what it is about that market that I like, I'm not listening to other prognosticators. I'm not listening to what other people say. I know what I'm looking for. And again, when it comes to gold, and let's face it, the gold market back in 2000, when we were the first ones to say get out of stocks and buy gold at $250, that turned out to be the biggest bull market of all time. There's never been a bigger bull market than that run in gold. People became multi-millionaires from that move in gold and silver if they played it the right way. So the fact is that there are certain markets that are action-reaction type of markets, and gold and the U.S. dollar happens to be one that you can depend on. When the U.S. dollar is strong, there is no need to be invested in gold. And if the U.S. dollar is going to go higher, which it certainly is, because they're going to raise interest rates in the U.S., then you need to be long the U.S. dollar and short every other currency. Now, the U.S. dollar is going to go up more against certain currencies, that have maybe stronger economies. But one thing's for certain, and Canada is not fighting this, is that the U.S. dollar is going to skyrocket and the Canadian dollar is going to plummet. And if you don't do anything about that, you're going to be the same as the people in Britain when Brexit happened and they lost 25% of their net worth in 1 hour. Don't let that happen to you. Just give me a call. Don't be intimidated in any way. We are all the same. I'm a Canadian, born and raised in Toronto. I live in the United States, but everything about me is Canada. I'm still a Leafs fan, even though they haven't won from the 60s. So, again, all I want to do is help. It's imperative at this point that we get on the right track because we have an opportunity to make an awful lot of money and to make it in American dollars, which is only going to add about 30, 40, or maybe 50% return to our overall investment. I'm very excited about this.
Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And our featured diamond of the week, we'll talk about it shortly as we get into our second segment. This is a diamond that will become world-renowned because we're releasing it to the world. We're announcing it. It's a 1-carat cushion-cut fancy green internally flawless. So it's a fancy green internally flawless. We will hear the backstory about this diamond coming up with Harold on the second half of the show. See the diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. One of the stories that's breaking right now, it's interesting, from CNN, Trump administration puts new sanctions on Iran. The first concrete action after the White House put Tehran on notice for a missile test. A destroyer moved after Iran-backed rebels attacked a Saudi ship. Also, the Trump administration obviously saying that they're putting Iran on notice. So as Harold was saying, these are the things that are happening, and you need to be aware of them. Financially and geopolitically, the markets move. Money never sleeps, but we believe in hard assets, the place to be over the long term. We also have a story we can send to you. Signs are flashing. Loonie surge has gone too far, too fast. And that's a story from Bloomberg. They're saying that the loonie is due for a pullback. We can send that story to you as well. It's just breaking from Bloomberg as we speak. Connect with Harold Siegel. Find out more about investing in hard assets, the programs he has in place where you can start making money now. If you're sitting in a GIC making 1%, you don't have to settle for that. Speak with Harold. Find out what his programs are. 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We'll come back and talk about diamonds. As the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us by the telephone, our diamond and financial expert, New England Patriot fan, Harold Siegel.
Big Patriot fan.
February 3rd, 2017 is our date. Our time right now is 9/11. The show runs on 6:30 CHED, Sunday afternoon at 3, and Harold will be settling in shortly thereafter, the big show today, to watch his New England Patriots play the Atlanta Falcons. And we're hoping for a good game, and I know Harold is hoping for yet another Super Bowl ring for the Brady Bunch, as I call them, Tom Brady. But good luck to Harold's team, the New England Patriots. Let's hope it's an outstanding Super Bowl. Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. Our featured diamond of the week. As we said in the first half of the show, This is a museum piece. This is something so rare, so special. 1 carat, cushion cut, fancy green, internally flawless. And Harold, please tell us the backstory on this diamond, because it's so exciting.
Oh boy, is it ever. First of all, it's a one of a kind. There, to the best of my knowledge, and I know most of the rare diamonds that are available, that there has, we've never seen a flawless, internally flawless green diamond over a carat. So this is a 1 carat, cushion cut, fancy green, internally flawless diamond. It's a diamond that we unearthed ourselves. It's a diamond that we cut and polished ourselves, sent it to GIA to be graded, and that little diamond, 1 carat diamond, is worth over $1 million. You know, wow. The thing is about diamonds like this is that they come out of a mine, but the mine doesn't just produce green diamonds. I mean, very, very seldom does a green diamond or a blue diamond or a pink diamond ever become available. You know, every 100,000 diamonds, there's 1 colored diamond. And that doesn't mean that it's an investment quality diamond. In fact, most diamonds are not investment quality. So to get a diamond like this, most green diamonds come out of Central and South America. So the fact is that you need uranium in the ground in order for a diamond to turn green. Otherwise, all diamonds would be white. If there's boron in the ground, a diamond will turn blue. If there's nitrogen in the ground, the diamond can turn yellow or orange. If there's uranium in the ground, the diamond can turn green. But that doesn't mean that all the diamonds that come out of that mine are green. Maybe 1 out of every several 100,000 will have some green to it. But how many will ever become, you know, a saturated fancy green, and then how many will ever have the clarity of being internally flawless? Obviously, very, very few. This is the only one that I've ever seen. So you're talking about a diamond that comes out of the mine as a rough diamond. We mined that diamond. We viewed the diamond. We actually sat down and plotted how to cut that diamond because it was so rare. And that diamond actually took 4 months to cut, even though it's only a carat. Because the fact is that you never, ever want to make a mistake on a diamond like that, and it turned out perfect. Internally flawless, fancy green, magnificent cushion cut, diamonds worth over $1 million, and a diamond like that will never, ever, ever decline in value. That diamond can only go up because it's a one-of-a-kind. And now, we talk about trends, you know, how we caught the trend in gold from 250 to 1900, how we caught the trend in silver, you know, from $3.80 up to $50. We caught the trend in oil from $18 up to 150. And all those trends, now there's trends in diamonds. The trend in blue diamonds from 2005, when vivid blue diamonds were selling at auction for $200,000 a carat, the trend for blues was to go substantially higher. Well, do you realize that vivid blue diamonds in 2016 sold for $5 million a carat, $4 to $5 million? It was only 10, 11 years ago that they were selling for $200,000. So that's what I'm talking about. We need to find trends that are longer-term trends, that if we catch them at the beginning, like we did with gold, and run it all the way to the top, that's where we get the maximum return on our invested dollar, and that's exactly what green diamonds are going to do. So you got a diamond like that that's $1 million or more just for that particular diamond because it's one of a kind. But 10 years from now, that diamond could be $3 or $4 million. Do you realize that in 2016, a vivid green diamond sold at auction? It was called what? The Aurora?
Aurora Green.
Randy?
Aurora
Yes.
Green.
It was only 5 carats, and the diamond sold for $15 million. So it sold for $3 million a carat. We have a 19.5 carat green diamond that we bought that is a rough diamond, the biggest green diamond ever found. And we're cutting and polishing that diamond. But when we cut the diamond, because we could cut it down to a 13 carat intense, or we could cut it down to a 10 carat vivid. Well, a 10 carat vivid diamond, even at last year's prices, would make that diamond worth $30 million. That's how much appreciation can be in a diamond over the longer term. the fact is that diamonds are not short-term investments. You don't buy them for a year or 5 years. You want to hold on to them as long as you possibly can. And if you don't need to cash it in for your own, retirement or whatever, then you pass it down to your family, because that's where these diamonds really take on a tremendous life of their own. We've seen diamonds over a 50-year period go from $50,000 to $5 million. We saw the Shirley Temple diamond that was purchased in 1940 for $7,000 in 2016 sell for $25 million. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about assets that are so rare, assets that never decline in value because they're one-of-a-kinds, that do way better than your retirement savings plans could ever do. If you're, 30 years old and you're just, starting off in the workforce, and you start putting away in a retirement savings plan and plan on cashing it in your 60s, you plan on holding on to that for at least 30 years. In that 30 years, you hope to make, substantial return. That's not happening in the retirement savings plan. But what's wrong with putting away a diamond for 30 years? You're going to get a much, much bigger return than you ever would by trading in stocks or mutual funds. So again, what I've done for my grandchildren, and I did for my children growing up, was put diamonds away for their future. My young grandchildren, I have 4 of them, all have diamonds put away for the future. No stocks in General Motors or Apple or anything like that. Only diamonds. And the reason for that is that I'm a firm believer in long-term investments that are not paper assets. We saw what happened in 2008 when the mortgage crisis hit and the stock market plummeted from 14,000 all the way down to 6,500. People lost almost everything at that particular point. We never, ever want to be in a situation like that again, and that's not the type of situation that I ever put my clients into. We don't leverage, we don't finance, we don't recommend anything like that. We recommend taking the more conservative approach, but over the longer term, that's where you're going to make the most money because you're not jumping in and out of the marketplace. So, again, everybody at this point, realize what you're looking at when you go to our website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, and look at the featured diamond or see it in the free weekly newsletter. You're looking at a one-of-a-kind diamond that we unearthed from the ground ourselves. We cut and polish that diamond in our own cutting facilities in Antwerp, Belgium, had it graded through GIA, and it came out as the only internally flawless green diamond that we have ever known about. So some lucky buyer is going to get one of the most amazing diamonds ever found, and these are the type of deals that we're bringing to our clients at this point. And don't forget, these diamonds are also priced in U.S. dollars. So as we see the U.S. dollar go higher and higher and higher, it only helps your investment that much more. Again, it's a good time to be in the alternative asset business.
It is just a thing of beauty, this green diamond. If you remember when Harold brought diamonds to us back in 2005, one of the things I said right then and there, green. I love the color green, and I love green diamonds. And this is obviously taking green diamonds to a whole new level. This is a museum piece. You can go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com and see it. It's the featured diamond of the week, a 1-carat cushion cut, fancy green, internally flawless. It is absolutely gorgeous. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had some outstanding stories on diamonds. Wall Street Journal. Demand soars for colored diamonds. Investors seek higher returns. Have moved into an area once the preserve of wealthy investors, wealthy collectors. And we can send that story out to you. One of the things that they say, some diamonds, such as red diamonds, are so rare that only a handful are known to exist in the world. The GIA says the laboratory didn't see a single red diamond from 1957 to 1987. So you're looking at, obviously, 30 years. And that obviously tells you what we've been saying for a long time on the show. We're dealing with the rarest of the rare. There was also an article last week that we had, and it was a must-read. It was about investing in jewelry. Is jewelry the last brilliant investment? And they were talking about diamond jewelry, other jewelry as well. They mentioned the Shirley Temple diamond, that 9.54 carat fancy deep blue purchased in 1940 for $7,200, valued and sold for over $25 million. And they went on to mention that clients have asked for lots of $1 million each for grandchildren to be stored in safety deposit boxes, knowing that they will appreciate in value. They see it as a safe haven. And the story that we follow up with this week is in our free weekly newsletter. I thought it was very interesting. Granted, obviously we're dealing with a famous person here now, but still, it's very telling. A diamond necklace worn by Princess Diana to the ballet just 2 months before her passing is on sale for $10 million. And it is just beautiful. And it was about 2 months before she passed. It's glittering with diamonds and South Sea pearls. The Swan Lake suite gained celebrity status as the necklace Diana wore on her final public engagement. The necklace was made with Diana's assistance and included 5 of her favorite pearls. Now the backstory, and this is where it gets interesting. Ukrainian couple made the investment in it for $500,000 in 2010. The 178 diamonds and pearls have been described by New York auction house Guernseys as the gift of the century. A spokesman for Guernseys told The Sun, and that's out of the UK, right now the owners, are entertaining offers. I can't cite prices, but obviously you're aware of what it sold for previously. Markets change, and I think the family feels that originally they picked it up for a bit of a song, but they're looking for around $10 million after in 2010 a $500,000 investment. And Harold, that is the excitement of a diamond market, a jewelry market, obviously unique because of the Diana tie-in. But I know that you've talked in the past that you have jewelry from Elizabeth Taylor. And that, since you picked it up, no doubt has appreciated dramatically over time.
You better believe it. In actual fact, some of Elizabeth Taylor's pieces go for more than any other pieces on the market. In fact, we have an auction coming up hopefully at the end of February. We're just finishing off our new website, and it's going to be spectacular. We put a tremendous amount of work into it. But I am very seriously considering putting up one of Elizabeth Taylor's pieces. I've got 3 of her brooches, and one of them, I have a picture of Elizabeth Taylor actually wearing this brooch. So I'm very seriously considering putting up Elizabeth Taylor's brooch on this next auction coming up. So we'll let you know. It is coming up fairly soon. We're pushing for it to be, for the auction to happen at the end of February, but it appears, because we need time to advertise it and all that, it may be the beginning of March. But we are going to have auctions every single month. We're extremely excited about it. I've got some extremely rare pieces that are going to be auctioned off. It's not only going to be jewelry. We've got some fun things also, like some beautiful coin sets, gold coin sets, kilo, silver sets. We've got some currency from Saddam Hussein with his picture. We've got some amazing things coming up. So, again, we'll let you know when that's going to happen. It's going to happen fairly quickly. And I'm hoping for the end of the month, but it may be the first week of March, but it is coming, and then we will have auctions every month after that. So, again, we are planning on putting up one of Elizabeth Taylor's brooches, and everybody's going to love seeing the opportunity to bid on a piece like this.
Very curious to see what happens with Diana's necklace. You can see the necklace in our free weekly newsletter. Get it from Harold, 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And in the world we are in today, it's not easy to retire. I know that my sister is going through a divorce and trying to get her affairs settled on a multi-fronts, and she's also in a position where she's trying to figure out a financial plan to be able to retire. And it's not easy. There are some very difficult questions out there that people face every day when it comes to deciding where to invest. Everyone is worried about losing their retirement money due to another financial crisis or a financial crash. We've seen a number of those, but that's why we do the radio show. That's why we put out our free weekly newsletter. As Harold says, the radio show is free, the newsletter is free. How do you invest today so you can retire tomorrow? And that's why we do the show. Speak with Harold. He speaks with many, many radio listeners every week. He'll be happy to talk to you. If you're uncertain of your game plan, the financial plan that you have, he'll be happy to obviously sit down and talk to you and let you know the programs he has in place where you can start making money today. 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. Write that number down. Give Harold a call. He'll be happy to speak with you. His website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And all you need to do is look at simple math. The math does not lie, and that is if you're sitting in a GIC and you're getting about 1% or maybe 1.5%, inflation is running around 2% officially. You're paying, if it's outside a retirement vehicle, RSP, TFSA, you're paying a tax on that. Factor in the tax, you factor in inflation, you're losing money. And if you're going to be counting even on 1 or 1.5% in a retirement vehicle, we've talked about it many times. There's a thing called the rule of 72. You divide 72 into the interest rate that you have, that you're getting on your investment. That's how long it will take your money to double. 1%, 72 years. That is not a plan that will work for you in your retirement, where you can retire comfortably with the lifestyle that you want and you have chosen. And that's why Harold has put together different programs. That's the idea behind this radio show, helping people make money. And we're doing it with alternative assets. And we say to you, open up your mind, take a look at the opportunity that Harold has, speak with him personally, privately. Anything discussed is 100% confidential. 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. But as Harold has said on past shows, if you don't know anything about Bill C-15, find out. He knows. It's about bank bail-ins, negative interest rates, weak Canadian dollar, housing crash in Vancouver. Well, the market's still going crazy in Toronto. What about a cashless society? Lots of questions. If you need answers, that's why Harold Siegel is there, and he'll be happy to take your calls, 1-800-432-1022. And I know, Harold, on any given week, you're talking to many, many of our radio listeners. People are surprised that, yes, they're talking to you. You pick up the phone. You're happy to do it. And I guess it was it right after Christmas? We had that email from one of our listeners who had made an investment and as a result was able to pick himself up a car that he had always wanted. And that is so gratifying to get an email like that and see people making money as a result of the recommendations we make on our radio show.
You bet, Randy. We love to see that our clients are successful. The fact is that it's extremely difficult to make any kind of money in today's marketplace without taking a huge risk. And again, we have private investments that are outside of the stock market and paper assets that our clients are making over 25% a year, and they're making it in U.S. dollars. Now, the trend for the U.S. dollars to go substantially higher, we're going to see at least 3 interest rates hikes in the U.S. this year, which means that the U.S. dollar is going to skyrocket against other currencies, mostly the Canadian dollar, which we already know that the Canadian government has no interest in supporting. So if that's what the case is going to be, we might as well take advantage of that and make a ton of money. And that's exactly what we're doing at this point and what's going to continue to happen. So if you want to know how to do that and what our private investments are, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to spend as much time with you as you need and explain everything to you so you can make an informed decision.
Talk to Harold as well about our featured diamond. This is a museum piece. It's something that rarecoloreddiamonds.com put together as a rough, cutting it, obviously the polishing process. Now we have one of the finest green diamonds on the planet. 1 carat, cushion cut, fancy green, internally flawless. See the diamond at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. And one of the great things about diamonds in the world that we live in today, the 5 compelling reasons. Privacy. Privacy is so important. You really don't want to tell people what you have. And that's something Harold recommended years ago, and I have stuck to that principle in my own personal life. People ask me what I have. I say, yes, I have investments. I don't want someone knowing what I have, not that anything is illegal or that I'm doing anything wrong. It's just keep your privacy. It's an important thing. Also, portability. It's great to have an investment that's portable. Estate planning, something that you can pass on from generation to generation. Price stability is important in the environment that we're in. And good long-term growth is something that is so important. And you may remember on a past show, we had a quote, and I think that the quote is so telling because this is sort of the beauty of jewelry and diamonds. Jewelry is an investment you can wear for 30 years and then sell. What else can you do that with? And Harold, that is so true. We have about 3 minutes left.
Oh, you better believe it. Again, that's the beautiful thing about jewelry is that you can wear it and then you can actually sell it. And again, we have an auction site. So we also, own Diamante Atelier, which is our jewelry division, which we have over 3,000 pieces of investment quality jewelry that is just absolutely spectacular. We have a private showroom in West Palm Beach, which is the most expensive street in North America. It's where Mar-a-Lago is and Donald Trump lives. So, again, a lot of our clients come down here to visit. In fact, during the winter, we have clients down almost every single week coming to visit the showroom, see us about private investments, meeting us personally. It's really a phenomenal thing. We love when our clients call, and we love when our clients come down to visit. And that is an opportunity that is available to anybody who's serious about investing with me. Again, we can certainly make arrangements for you to come down here to beautiful sunny Florida when it's 30 below up north and it's 85 here. You may want to come down and see how we're making money for clients.
Harold's a Canadian who lives in the United States, and he's a proud Canadian. Telephone number to speak personally and privately with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. rarecoloreddiamonds.com is the website. And if you missed it in past newsletters, don't miss any newsletter going forward. Get the newsletter from Harold. But we had stories from the Wall Street Journal. Demand soars for colored diamonds. And they talk about colored diamonds going up dramatically over the last decade. And they talk about the Argyle pink diamond tender as well, and how the Argyle mine is going to be shutting down here in approximately 3 years. Pink diamonds, 90 to 95% of the world's pink diamonds from the Argyle mine in Western Australia. That mine shutting down. Just imagine what the price of a pink diamond will be worth from Argyle when they shut that mine down. We also have, and this was an article that we mentioned on last week's show, and they talked about the jewelry market and how exciting the jewelry market is, and we'll be happy to send that article out to you. Is jewelry the last brilliant